Hello and welcome to the Bad A Women of Hearthstone tournament. We are in Swiss round number 8, the final round. This is for the whole enchilada into the top 8. Joining me today is TrigOrTreat. How you doing, Trig?
Hi, yeah, I'm doing fine. Looking forward to doing this casting for the very first time tonight.
We're so excited you're here and looking forward to this awesome matchup. We have Penny, HS, and Nexora on deck. Can you tell me anything you know about these players, Trig?
I don't know very much about them, but Penny has been playing Hearthstone for a while. I think she's joined a lot of DreamHacks already, and Nexora is also on a team and she streams as well. Um, and tonight they're actually playing for the top 8. They're both at 4-3, so the winner will go through to top 8, and the loser, unfortunately, is out.
Ugh, that was such a bad feeling, but it's also got to be an adrenaline rush today to get to this place where you're like, okay, if I can win this, I got a good shot at the top 8. So, tell me a little bit, Trig, what decks are we seeing here today? We know our bands. So tell us our bands first, actually. Let's start there.
Yeah, Penny brought Secret Hunter that was banned, and for Nexora, her Odd Rogue was banned.
Okay. And we see Penny bringing up the cloning gallery priest Q block and an odd pally. Did you see any interesting texts or anything that you wanted to talk about in those, or did you think the lists were pretty standard?
I think they're pretty standard lists. The Priest is the one with the 7 minions. There's two options there, right? And
Yes.
but other than that, I didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary.
So today, Trig, we're seeing the cloning gallery priest as well as the control priest. Which one do you like more in these matchups?
Um, I think in this case, the Control Priest probably is favored a little bit more.
It should
Um,
definitely be interesting to see.
yeah, the matchup between the two priest decks it'll probably be pretty close, but Nexora with her Death Rattle Hunter and Control Priest and even Paladin seems to be a bit favored to win the whole
To win the
series.
matchups. You don't see Hunter get left up too long or too often in these type of matchups. So I'm kind of actually excited, despite the fact that we see Hunter way too much on ladder over in the NA server. I'm kind of excited to watch Hunter do its magic in a tourney game.
Yeah, that will indeed be exciting to see whether that Death Rattle Hunter can really sweep this, or whether Penny has brought some decks that the Odd Paladin and the Priest both should have a good chance. I think
Yes,
her Cube Warlock will struggle a bit.
yes. So one of the cards that I did want to talk about while we're waiting for the players to get into the match here, um, Witch's Cauldron, an odd pally. Have you run against this yet at all, Trig?
No, I haven't played that, seen that very often, but
I actually ran into this yesterday. It's a very sneaky card. Witch's Cauldron actually I think is brilliant in this deck. It got behind a taunt and I couldn't kill it for turn after turn after turn. And so they kept getting spell after spell. It was crazy. Like how good this can be. So it'll be really interesting to see what spells Penny gets off of this Witch's Cauldron if she can get it down.
yeah, indeed, it's of course always nice to be getting some extra value with all these randomly generated spells.
But that can
But
always
yeah, they
be
do need
interesting.
that taunt to protect it a bit.
Yes. Yeah, and it can always be interesting to see what comes out because they're, if I'm not mistaken, off of Witch's Cauldron, they're also shaman spells, correct? Like they're all for
Yes, they're all shaman spells.
shaman. So we know that sometimes you get, draw two Murlocs from your deck and you're just quite sad. It does look like the players are heading into game. So let's see what we end up queuing up first.
Yeah, it seems we're starting with Cube Warlock against the Death Rattle Hunter. Penny playing the Warlock and Nexora on the Hunter.
Okay, so tell
Um,
us a little bit about this matchup. What do you want to see if you are the Death Rattle Hunter here? What kind of cards do you want in your hand?
well, of course, you want to get some of those nice Devilsaur eggs that we see that Nexora is getting, and she just drew the Terror Scale as well, so that she can trigger those Death Rattles. Should be favorite match for her, I think. That Rattle Hunter against Cube Warlock.
Indeed. Bear with me just a second. I am actually having some trouble seeing Penny's cards at the moment. So we're going to work on that on the backside a bit. In the meantime, oh my, this hand is just looking pretty gross on Nexora's part. We can see a lot of death rattle triggers. What is Penny looking at right now with this cube block, Trig?
Yeah, she Penny does have a Mountain Giant ready to go already. Well, she needs to get some more card first, but and she has a Doomsayer as well to hold off a little bit. But first, those death rattles do need to be triggered, then otherwise the Doomsayer is not gonna help her.
Okay. Trig, tell us a little bit more about this matchup. What is the even or the cube? I'm sorry, cube want to do in this situation?
Um, I don't have a lot of experience playing Cubelock myself. I actually haven't played it before, so I'm not very
Experience in it.
yeah,
Okay, I actually ended up getting my getting to be able to spectate here. I'm back, so sorry about that. I mean, it does seem like we've got a lot of decent stuff going on in this hand. We can see that that
yeah,
mountain giant's already at 3. In we know that Nexora has to deal with that mountain giant early. She's got a nice way to get a weapon on board and start to stop this onslaught a little bit. But we also see over in Nexora's hand, she's got a lot of ways to work with these eggs as well. So, oh, and yet another way off the top there,
yeah,
another
another
terror
terror
skill.
scale. And she's got the Hunter's Marks to help her deal with the Mountain Giant.
Yes, yeah. So that's one of the hardest things about, I think, for a warlock coming into this matchup against a hunter is those hunter marks are just able to take down big minions in one go. But the downside being you only have 2, and these minions that come out from a cube lock or an even lock or anything like that can be giant. You know, when you have 8/8, 7/7s, 3/9s, all of this
Yeah.
stuff. So we do see she does decide to go ahead and use that hunter's mark. How do you feel about using that here?
Yeah, I do think that I would probably have done the same. It seems reasonable to get rid of that big threat right now while you can. You can put
Mm-hmm.
out some more 5/5s yourself and start hitting face next turn.
Boy, this is such a scary board to be facing down, though. If you're Penny here, I mean, taking 13 damage to the
Yeah.
face. What do you see her doing this next turn?
Well, I think she will hope that the weapon will pull out the Void Lord for her to at least stop some of this damage coming in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where the Penny's biggest chance here. I mean, she does obviously have some decent ways to go with Spellstone in hand to be able to heal up a little bit. Hopefully, the Void Lord comes down for her here. But this board for Nexora is just big, and she does sense that maybe she might know that Doomsayer is in hand. You know that's maybe what Penny might be looking to do this turn is just set that Doomsayer down where she knows it doesn't come out, but Penny reaching maybe for a Doom Guard here. What do you think is
Yeah.
running through Penny's mind right now, Trig?
Well, she needs to get rid of this board, but also make sure then that those death rattles do not trigger, because that would put another 2/5/5s on board. And so Doomsayer is not really, I don't think, a very good option. Of course, you will still be left with some tons from the Void Lord, but
Mm-hmm.
you will still be facing a pretty impressive board.
Yes, that is true. With the 2 death rattles there, we do see her reach for that 2/2 that pulls a demon from her hand and Dark Pact to destroy it, pulling her back up to 10. And she does pull that second Void Lord. This
Yeah,
is exactly what Penny needed to see here to be able to stabilize. If you're on Nexora's side, what do you start to do to be able to push through these giant taunts?
Well, she has another Hunter's Mark that can help her deal with at least one of them, and the flanking strike might also help dealing with a bit of the health there. And the other ones she'll just have to get through with her minions.
And she does make quick work of that, we see. With this, what do we think that well, we see that we only that cube.
Yeah, there might be a way for her to get a defile set up here.
Yes, it would definitely work to get that through. She's got a lot of options. It looks like she's only sitting at 8 health, which might be a little bit scary, but she has tons of taunts in the way. She has defile for board clear. She also has a lot of lot to be done with this cube as well.
Yeah, or maybe she'll get the Umbra out this turn, and then she can cube next turn on the Doom card and get 2 more ready to go. But she'll need some board space then, which Nexora will probably be happy to provide by trading into some of these taunts.
Yes. Yeah, and we see that Nexora's hand isn't the best. Kellis not going to do a whole lot of work for you. We do like the fact that Undasta is in hand, and you also have oh my goodness, your 8/8 that charges
King Crush.
King Crush in hand. So that's not a bad combo to have at all. But it doesn't do a whole lot for turn 8 when you're wanting to keep pressure.
No.
What a pickup here! What a pickup!
Yes, the Rexar is of course always nice to get. Start creating some nice beasts. Although turn 9 Undasta is probably also a good play. And Beast might have to wait a little bit.
Yes, of course.
It will get rid of the Doom Guard if she plays the Rexar now, dealing the 2 damage. So that will stop any cubing.
Which has got to be on her mind that that's going to come up. And we know from experience probably that those Doom cards can do some crazy stuff if she's got, if that comes out for free, or I'm sorry, if that gets cubed and then Doom pacted. I mean, there's just so much that can happen. So this, it's an OTK turn if she doesn't get rid of it easily.
Yes, and we do see the Rexar coming out, dealing with the Doom card. And then probably a few trades to get rid of some Void Lords, and she's making a Beast first. What did she pick there? It's the Flappy Bird with Stealth and Poisonous.
That was an interesting pick.
5/5.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Penny's got some options here, but she has to keep in mind that there's, that the beast that came out of hand could have been charged. It could have been a lot of things. So what does she do here to keep herself alive?
Yeah, she does have another Spellstone. It's not upgraded yet, so it will not heal her for very much. There's a lot of 1 and 2 health minions, so Defile may be an option, but that will then pop those eggs and leave her with some 5/4s on board for the opponent, so that doesn't seem too great either.
And cubing here is just not as great of an option as you would normally like it to be, just because it still is going to leave some stuff on the board. But we do see that she is going to go ahead and take that route. She cubes the Doom Guard, and Umbringa triggers, clears some stuff, and moves forward. So that was probably the best option I could possibly see there. She has some taunts in the way. Even if Undasta comes out, the charge minion can't get to face just yet. So.
Yeah, there might have been something possible with defiling and then trading the Doom Guards into the Devil Swords, but not quite sure if that would have worked out.
That was probably not the best scenario by any stretch of the imagination, getting a stealth minion there. I think her not putting out that defile this time actually ended up saving her. just a little bit. We can see that Penny's actually looking. Oh,
Oh,
she's
this is.
she saw the lethal. I completely missed it.
Yeah, me too.
Game one, it goes to Penny with an excellent lethal there.
Yeah, very well played. Very unfavored matchup for her, but she managed to get the win there.
She ended up stabilizing at 8 health. That's a big deal, stabilizing that low with a death rattle hunter where most minions are well above five attacks. So great job to Penny. Nexora played it very well. I'm not sure that she could have done much different there. So kudos to both on well played. Penny is up 1-0. So next up, we are going to see, and a reminder, what format are we in? By the way,
We're
Trig?
playing Last Hero Standing, so Penny will stay on her Warlock. She just won, and Nexora will have to pick a different deck, either her Control Priest or the Even Paladin.
Okay, which one do you think that Nexora would be likely to queue up here?
I don't know really. They both seem favored over the Cube Warlock, so maybe the Even Paladin should. Yeah, I don't think it really matters that much.
Which way
Whatever
she ends
she
up
feels
choosing?
more comfortable with playing, I think.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I feel like you could really go either way with this and be making a good choice on which decks to run. I'm trying to pull something up here. Tell us a little bit. She's cubed in her cloning. Whoops, hold on. In Penny's cloning gallery, she's got Obsidian statue, which is an interesting choice. I'm sorry, that's
That's
I'm getting
Penny's
myself twisted
priest
around.
list.
That's Penny's. Okay, she does end up pulling that priest out. Whoops.
Yeah.
Sometimes casters make goofs. My bad, guys. Um, but we can see Prince Talderon, a mountain giant, and two cold blood librarians. What do you think she tosses here against the priest?
Um, that's a good question. Um, I'm not sure again. Warlock, Cube Warlock is not a deck that I'm very familiar with, so
Yeah.
the mulligan is not really.
Cube has definitely seen a decline ever since the nerf that happened, and it doesn't get played too often. I think it's an excellent choice because it has some really great matchups in this meta. But yeah, knowing what to play against a deck like this
Yeah,
is definitely different. So we know Nexora is on the control priest.
yeah.
She's running.
She kept her Shadow Reaper Enduin in hand.
Is someone injured?
Okay, so we're doing what priests do. We are putting out a minion to draw cards with. um,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
like that as priest players, don't we? As many cards as we can get. Yum yum yum.
Yes. And the Shadow Visions to get some extra copies of your spells is in hand. Not sure if she'll play it yet. Maybe she will want to wait till she knows what she wants from it. But could very well be that she already has an idea and plays it now. But
Mm-hmm. The very dangerous part for the warlock here is that they know that their health is going to get low quickly from tapping and trying to draw into things. Also, not putting out a ton of small stuff to be able to deal with the board. So I think that's something that Penny's going to have to keep in mind. Double mind blast if she gets down low again is going to kill her. If Nexora finds another one off of mind visions, this game could be over very quickly. So Penny has to be, considering that could happen. We see Divine Hymn, Shadow Visions, and Power Word Shield. She does choose the Power Word Shield.
yeah,
She
for
wants
more
more.
card draw, of course.
Yeah.
It's always good. We did see for Penny that she already has 2 Mountain Giants in hand and 2 Spellstones at the moment, so there is quite some healing ready for her as well.
Let's see. So in this matchup, it does say that the priest is favored 61% of the time, according to HS Replay. So this is a very, it's going to have to be a very meticulous game for Penny to pick up the win here. What do you
Yes.
see in Penny's hand that makes you feel like there's definitely a way that Penny can pull this out?
Well, she has the mountain giant start putting on some pressure, and she also has her both her lackeys in hand and a dark pact to pull out some demons. One doom card is already in her hand, so that can no longer be pulled from the deck, which increases the chances of her getting a Void Lord, of course. But she'll play the first mountain giant now to start pressuring Nexora a bit, and gives her an option to deal with the minions.
And it definitely is a struggle for Priest to remove it until turn 7, but we do see that Twilight Acolyte in hand, which, man, that card's annoying. Trading stats is definitely very
Yeah.
frustrating, and we see that, in fact, happen here with those Mountain Giants. All right, so what does Penny do now?
Yeah, well, she has another mountain giant ready to go, but we can see that Nexora also has another acolyte to also steal the attack from that one.
Mm-hmm.
She will probably have to deal with at least that 8/4,
Yes,
as her health is getting low. You see the spellstorm come out.
yeah, she does have to deal with that for sure. Because honestly, if she had any type of mind blast or anything in hand, the game was over if she didn't deal. So Penny's sitting in a bit of a precarious position. But that being said, this Q block can just turn the game around quickly. There is a certain amount of healing in this deck as well.
Yeah, she has another spellstone. It's upgraded once, so she can use that to heal and deal with a minion. She can, I think, if she taps once more. No, tapping doesn't upgrade it, right? Does it?
No, tapping
No,
hold must be damage from a card. And we
from
do
a
see
minion.
Skull of Minari come out here. But do you think that's her play here? Does she really does she want to do that, or does she maybe want to dig through her deck and see if she can't find a Void Lord?
Yeah, she only has the Doomguard in hand, and I think she does need to stop the damage from these minions. So playing the Lackey and the Dark Pact, healing you up, and indeed getting that Void Lord out does seem like the play here.
That was an excellent turn. This maybe be where Penny is able to stabilize and get that weapon down and start doing what Q blocks do, which is destroy.
Yeah. Well, we have reached turn 7, and there were 2 Psychic Screams in hand as well for Nexora, so she has ways to deal with these 2 minions on Penny's board.
Yeah, we do see that, in fact. And we also see that Anduin in hand, which means that almost anything that comes out now, if it's the Doom Guard or any like Mountain Giant, something like that, those are actually going to be a moot point at this point. Those will get destroyed by Anduin coming down. We do see that Nexora takes the card draw here.
Yeah, of course, if a Doomguard would come out and with the skull, and then you can cube it, the cube doesn't die to the end the win, so that way she might be able to get something out. But for now,
those scale worms are pesky, my stars. With that 4 health, it's just hard to clear in this deck. So those end up staying alive. Penny reaching for the Hellfire here, maybe just wanting to clear the whole board and be done with the situation.
Yeah. Also prevents the Void Walkers to be shuffled back into her deck with a Psychic Scream. You don't want to
That's a very
draw
good
those
point.
off the top.
That's a very good point here, because you definitely don't want those mucking up your deck by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and it gives her a way she can deal with the Lordshire Clerics to stop any more card draw from Nexora's side. She already has 9 cards in hand, so she has plenty of things to do, but stopping the card draw might still be a good idea.
We do go ahead and see her reach for her Mountain Giant. She's just going to go ahead and take out the large dragons. I kind of like this play, you know, knowing that it's going to be really hard for her to do a whole lot with healing here because of the two Northshire clerics. But we do see Anduin
Yep.
come down.
Yeah, that deals nicely with that mountain giant.
All right.
And with just 19 health for Penny, it doesn't sound like it's a very low number, but against the priest, it can quickly be too little.
Which we know that Nexora doesn't actually have any type of Mind Blast in hand, so there's no real OTK turn yet, but we do see two Holy Fires. So that in itself, we know, can do 9 damage just off of the top.
Yeah,
So
with the Anduin hero power.
we definitely don't want to, like, Penny would not want to see her health total get too much lower, but she does have some healing in hand. She's got some minions to start throwing out there, but she has to be worried about that psychic scream, don't you think, Trig?
Yes, that if you go too white, then everything will be shuffled back into your deck, and you'll draw a Northshire cleric off the top. Not something that you really want to have happen, so that's probably also why she's trying to get rid of those.
And why do you think she threw out the Umbra here?
Well, that gives her the option next turn to play the Possessed Lackey and possibly draw another Voidlord or a Doomguard from her deck.
I like that. Also, if the battle cry is triggering on the Umbra, she could also throw out maybe a plated beetle and get some more armor here. I mean, she's got some options of what she can do.
And if she happens to draw a cube, then she could, of course, cube her mountain giant and get to 8/8 on the board.
And that's going to be a lot harder for Nexora to deal with, like, without using her screams. And then, you know, that still leaves lots of fun, crazy warlock things for Penny to do, even if that happens. But we see that Nexora decides to put priority on getting that Umbra off. I think that's a very good call on her part.
Yes, probably mostly afraid as well of that cube, which Penny doesn't have in hand, but Nexora, of course, does not know that. Okay, she's just drawn the second Void Lord, so the lackey should now be getting Doom Guards if she manages to trigger the Death Rattle. She currently has no way to do that in hand, or unless she wants to Hellfire.
We do see her go ahead and throw it out. Oh, and she's going to choose to defile it. Very interesting. Oh, and she pulls out the other Doom Guard. Do you think she's thinking at this point maybe it's a, you know, all or nothing situation? Want to get that Void, that Doom Guard in there, hoping to catch a Gul'dan off the top? What do you think her thought process was on that?
Yeah, I think she does want to speed it up a little bit, because the more time you give the priest, the more likely they are to draw their extra mind blasts and burn you down from quite a high life total.
So, and we do see the Control Priest's favorite combo here, which is Twilight Acolyte and Steel. That's never good. But we do see Ziliax off top, so that's not too terrible of a card to see. You know, you always want healing. Penny reaches for the Void Lord and slams that down.
Yeah, I think she needs to. With 11 damage on board is a very risky place to be with 20 health remaining. That's just 2 hero powers and one of those holy fires that are in hand. Would have been lethal, so it's good that she's played the Void Ward at this time.
Very smart play there. I agree. So we see Priest do what Priest do here, going over the top and machine gunning.
Yes. Looking for some extra spells with the Witch Doctor.
And we see that she actually gets it. I don't really see Mass Hysteria being all that great here since she controls the board with minions. So she does go ahead and choose that second Holy Fire, which is not great.
Third one, she already has 2 in hand. So
yeah. I mean, that pretty much gives Nexora the opportunity to just kind of sit back and say, okay, you know, I'm just going to start doing damage to your face and, you know, you're going to have to kill me, basically. So she's got a lot going on.
Yeah, and she deals with the Void Lord as well, so there is not a lot of things going on Penny's side of the board anymore.
Mm-mm.
She can heal with the Ziliax a little bit. But
Yeah.
I would much rather be in Nexora's shoes at the moment.
I have to agree. This is a rough spot. I mean, we look at Nexora and she's sitting at 28 health, and you've got 3 1/3s, and that's it. We do see that she goes ahead and throws her weapon in, and uses that Ziliax for some heal. I don't mind this play at all. I mean, you got to stay alive. But it doesn't really help her move forward with the answer of how do I not only take the board back and start to control the tempo as well as getting Nexora's health down. Do you think she has any answers here in her hand to be able to do that, or anything that could come off the top?
No, well, we know that the Doomguard will get pulled out by the weapon at the start of her next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And Doomsayer doesn't seem a very useful play here. The Hellfires will only reduce her own health as well, and the Plated Beetle also will not have a large influence, so I don't know if there's anything she can top deck that might be interesting. A Gul'dan might be nice. But
Yeah, I was gonna say that's about the only thing I can see here for her is she needs Gul'dan, and she needs it now. We see that priest is back up to 30 health. I don't think that's gonna do it for her here, and we know that Nexora has lethal in hand. So Penny obviously doesn't know that, but she's gonna have a pretty good idea that lethal is around the corner.
yes, with only 10 cards remaining in the deck for Nexora, there must be some damage in hand, and the hero power, of course, will also contribute. But she does manage to get a little bit of armor by cubing the Plated Beetle, putting her to 12. So one of those Holy Fires is not lethal
So
anymore.
Penny's basically just told Nexora, I know you don't have Mind Blast in hand because you would have already used it. So, I think that was the only way that Penny survives here. Very smart
Yeah.
hand reading skills, for sure, for Penny. So,
Yeah, and with Penny controlling the board, the Psychic Scream, of course, is a logical play for Nexora. Another Doom card off the top.
and
Just
Penny
puts
can't
it
even
out there for
tap
something to do.
here.
She could tap, yes, but she
She
probably
can't
doesn't
though.
want to.
Yeah, she can't even tap. Can't even tap.
No.
So,
And that
uh,
Hellfire is a pretty dead card as well.
yeah. So we know that that Nexor is one off of lethal. With the only card in the deck probably saving Penny here is Gul'dan, and even then, I think that there's still options for it to be lethal the following turn. So
Yes.
Penny has definitely played this very well in this position. The priest just does so much damage, and we can see that she actually chooses to use a minion here instead of that last holy fire, trying to lull her into maybe a sense of a sense of security, if you will.
Yeah, well,
Oh, they're one
back
card
of
too late, Gul'dan. You are fired. You are fired as a death knight. You're too late to save your job. Uh, Well, that was a 60-40, and Penny did everything she felt like I think she could have there. Nexora played awesome and just managed to take that down. So we are now sitting at Nexora 1 and Penny 1. What do we think that Penny will go ahead and queue up this turn, since her cube is now no longer a good deck for her to play?
well, she can choose between her Clone Priest and her Odd Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Clone Priest might be the better choice. Odd Paladin is also, I think, a little bit unfavored against the Control Priest, so.
Mm-hmm. Just looking at the stats for the deck, the Clone Priest is slightly better at 57.9%. So it'd be about 43% win rate versus the Odd Pally, which has a 38% win rate. So this is a tough matchup for Penny for sure. She does go ahead and choose to do a Priest not mirror, if you will, but she's going to bring her cloning gallery versus this control priest. I'm excited for this matchup. Are you excited, Nexora? This should be fun.
Yeah, this will be interesting. It could go long, of course, with the priest mirror. I personally have tried to play some clone priest, but I haven't find it a very difficult deck to play. I don't know if you have any experience with it.
I actually played it for the first time yesterday. Or 2 days ago, my apologies. So this should be a fairly interesting matchup. I played a little bit more control priest. So we'll find out, but I'm excited to see how this ends up panning out. And I apologize. I definitely called you Nexora instead of Trig. My apologies there.
No problem.
So we see quite the hands for Nexora having Gul'dan, having Alex Straza, and having the 8 mana 4/8 dragon. My apologies. So that's a pretty heavy deck or mulligan there.
Yes. And for Benny, we already see that she's drawn the Malagos, which is something that you would prefer not to do with this deck. You want to get it out in a cheaper way than playing 9 mana for.
Yes. You definitely do, and you're not going to sneak that out. We do see her do her mind vision here. Lots of really good choices. Having a second cloning gallery is not terrible at all, but that mind blast has to look pretty tempting to grab.
Yeah, an extra mind blast is always nice. Of course, with the Malagos already in hand, it's a little bit less useful because you cannot play both of them in the same turn.
That is true.
So she does go for the cloning gallery.
Yes, she does go for cloning gallery, which I like here. Being able to get several rounds of Prophet Velens or other minions like that does not hurt. And there comes a gargoyle off the top, which can maybe start contesting this board just a little bit, give her a spell in hand. I think it's a little early for her to play that Radiant. Oh, she just chooses to heal though. I don't mind that at all on Penny's side.
She has a Mass Hysteria for next turn to maybe deal with the board that way. It was an interesting play by Nexora to use the Acolyte on her own, put more pressure on the board in the previous turn.
That was a great call on her part, knowing that really there's just not a whole lot of minions. Nothing scary is coming out. Cloning Gallery is all about patience and being able to heal.
And we see here the use of the coin to damage her own minions. She can heal and draw something with the Cleric because she had no other plays in hand. Another Acolyte comes out. It comes in her hand. Let's see if she decides to use that to put even more on the board, or of course she knows as well that turn 5 Mass Hysteria is a possible play from Penny, so she might not want to put anything more out there.
Looks like she did decide to hold it, and Mass Hysteria does come down. Well, that wasn't the most ideal way that could have happened, but I mean, having a 1 mana or 1 attack minion out there isn't the worst.
No. It does give Nexora another chance with second Cleric to draw even more cards.
Yes. We do see she's going to summon a 5/5. That is very helpful here. Probably not the card that she was absolutely like 100% I had to have, but definitely way better than getting like a gargoyle or something like that, because you're going to be able to get a 4 mana 8/8 out onto the board next turn, and that's got to feel pretty good.
Yes, that's definitely nice to have here. Of course, gargoyle, it was already one in hand, so that was a little bit less likely to come out. The best, of course, would be a Malagos, but that unfortunately has already been drawn. So.
Yes. Yeah. Now that being said, I will stipulate that this is actually going to have to die first. And right now it doesn't look like there's too many great options. We do see the Holy Fire in hand for Nexora, but do you really want to use it here? On that, you're at full health, and that damage, you may need that a little bit later.
Yeah, I don't think you want to use your burn here already on that Lich King. It is a minion, of course, that you would like to remove as fast as possible to prevent it from generating too much value for your opponent. We see Penny now drawing a spellstone, so she can start upgrading that if she can put some spells out.
Now, how do you feel about the magic shell that came out? Do you think that's an option for her here, or do you think that she reaches for something different?
Well, with just the one minion, of course, is not ideal to play the anti-magic shell off, but it is a nice way to protect your Lich King. It will then no longer die to the minions on board if it's a 7/7, so you might be able to get it to live for another turn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and she does reach for, let's see, the shadow visions first. Oh, she puts it back.
Yeah.
She's playing with me now. She's playing with me. Don't do it to us, Penny. We're trying to keep up with you here.
Yeah,
We do
putting
see
out
her.
the Radiant, of course, does mean you have two minions that get your +2/+2, which already
There we
makes it
go.
a much nicer word. This starts looking pretty
Yes.
threatening with 11 attack.
Out on board. And not being able to use a spell to clear those now is
No.
actually very nice. We do know that she has that Psychic Scream in hand and gonna send
Yeah,
that
so
off.
that's of course not what you want as the Clone Prince, because now your minions have not died and you can't command them.
Nope.
And
So
when you play your cloning gallery, you get some unwanted minions in the pool as well.
you know, what do you take here? I mean, she ended up going with the Mind Blast. You know, the Spellstone really didn't does not do her any good because nothing has died. You know, and we see that she actually has that Nexora has the second one in hand. So, you know, the next minions that come out are probably not going to die either. So, but did you like her pick of choosing the Mind Blast here?
I must say that I missed the options for a second, so I don't know what the other ones were.
It was Spirit Lash was the other one. Oh, we'd go ahead and
Okay.
see her use it on use her
Cloning
gifted
gallery.
cloning gallery.
Hoping for these minions to die, but the Psychic Scream is likely to come out. Nexora does seem to consider playing the Primordial Drake for a moment, but does end up going for the
No.
Psychic Scream, which makes sense. This makes the old Spellstones and Eternal Servitudes useless cards at the moment.
We do see that off of the Lich King that Penny gets Army of the Dead, which really, really, really is not the card you want to see as a cloning gallery priest. There aren't too many cards in your deck you really want to burn. And plus, usually the minions you have on board, you want them to stick to do that damage. So that was unfortunate. You know, had she gotten you know, pretty much any other spell, I think she would have been a lot happier there.
Yeah, Lich King always has some unfortunate options in there that you need to deal with. Oh, this turn, she could possibly play the Lich King from hand again to see if she gets something nicer this time, although she is at 10 cards, so she would also have to play a second card in order not to overdraw.
How do we feel about just throwing down the Malygos this turn? Since she knows that she isn't going to die this turn, that Malygos can be resurrected if she has some way to kill it. And, you know, that Spirit Lash feels pretty good with Malygos down.
I do like that, especially since we've seen both Psychic Scream already. So the minions that get on board now will actually have to die and should be possible to revive them. No more shoveling things into the board. So I don't think any of those screams came of Shadow Visions.
No, they didn't. The only thing that would scare me here would be a Cabal, an Acolyte, Twilight Acolyte Cabal, where maybe stealing the Malygos. That would not be unfortunate. But I think if you're in Penny's situation, you've just got to say, well, this is it. You either have it or you don't.
Yes, and that would use up most of her mana, so there wouldn't be a lot of spells to play that turn, and then maybe that Doom Pact would come in handy to get rid of it. It would mean that Malagos will not end up in your graveyard and you won't be able to resurrect it.
But you do have
it
two
turns out,
so.
yeah, it turns out Nexora doesn't have that combo in hand, so the Malagos is safe for now, and she doesn't actually seem to have anything that deals with it. So it will stay on board.
And here is Penny's own Psychic Scream. However, that does not seem like the best option here.
No, I don't think we want to shuffle that Malagos into our opponent's deck. She's looking at the Spirit Lash, which deals with the Acolyte in one go and heals her up for a lot with the Malagos on board.
Which has got to be a good feeling if you're sitting in Penny's shoes right now. Healing up for 12 here is just fantastic. And then she throws down that Lich King. It makes a big difference when you get that Malagos down and have Spirit Lash to follow up for sure.
Yes, that's definitely good. She has one Mind Blast in hand for 10 damage, so she'll need a little bit more in order to get to lethal herself. But Nexora now has to try and deal 27 damage, which is a lot harder to do than the 14 that Penny had before.
Now we know Alex is in hand. Alex Straza is in hand, so that's not as bad having to get down to that 15. But that does mean that gives Penny yet another turn to find her own lethal. So.
Yes, or possibly play another Spirit Lash and now deal 6 damage to 3 minions and heal back up all the way to 30 again.
Yes. So Nexora's got to tread carefully here with how she ends up playing everything. We do see she's kind of thinking about that Twilight Acolyte. She's got a lot of thought process going here. She does reach for that Scale Worm. Gonna go ahead and get this Lich King off the board, which we know that's actually probably going to buy Penny a little bit more time with 2 Eternal Servitudes in hand. She's got a lot. Ooh, we see more damage come off the top. She's sitting at 17, 21 damage, not quite able to get there. So she's got to keep, she's got to keep healthy and try to find how to survive.
Yes, of course, and now her Lich King has just died, so she can start resummoning those with Eternal Servitudes. While also maybe healing a little bit with her hero power.
Now, it's got to be running through Penny's mind, though, that her hand is full. If she resurrects that Lich King, she could be burning an integral piece of her puzzle here. So what else can she play? You can't play any of those Lich King cards, which are just sitting in her hand, being kind of lame. 3 cards she can't use.
Are quite unfortunate, but with another Lich King on board, she does have everything she needs for lethal next turn, I think, because that would add another 8 damage. She can even resurrect 2 Lich Kings, so she might not be too afraid of burning a card. She actually
Okay, so she just
puts the Radiant.
Besides that, Radiant Elemental is probably not the worst thing that she could get. If it dies, that Spellstone can resurrect. She's got a lot of options here. There's also 1 in the deck still, so I think that was a very smart dump on her part to be able to try to, threaten lethal. And well, of course, Nexora does not know necessarily that lethal is in hand. She might guess, however, with that Malagos down.
Yes, of course, you don't need that many cards with the Malagos down to have lethal, and with that many cards being in hand, of course, she knows 3 of them were generated by 4 by now have been generated by the Lich King, and probably don't do that much damage since they haven't been played yet. She does find a way to deal with the board with the Duskbreaker. And
we do see her reaching for that spell, so we know this could potentially be lethal here. However, it is not. Well, actually, I don't know that it could have been lethal. My apologies.
The other Malagos, she now has 12 damage.
All right. How do we feel about Penny using her damage spells now? Oh, an Army of the Dead comes out. That's interesting. That could that could potentially be game if that pulled out one or both of the Valens there with that Mind Blast in hand.
Yeah, well, I think Penny also has lethal on board just with her minion. Using a little bit of damage to really put the pressure on Nexora seems to make sense. She now needs to deal with the board and possibly heal as well. She always, if one of those Malagoses stays on board, then just one Mind Blast is lethal. So it's a tough spot for Nexora at the moment.
We see her pull out the Scale Worm and use that to get rid of this Lich King. How does she deal with the rest of this board, though?
I don't think she can, so she's just gonna hope that Penny does not have the damage in hand. She heals up as much as possible, and then let's see, a 25.
So we do see that she's going to go ahead and steal a minion first. What is she going to grab? Oh, and that's probably one of the worst cards for that, being able to use that Acolyte to steal something. She does 15 damage to face and is lethal. All right. So that was a really interesting game. The Cloning Gallery taking down a slightly unfavored. It was about 57 to 43%. So Penny goes up 2-1 with that. Now tell me, this last deck for Nexora is her Even Paladin. How does that compare to a Cloning Gallery Priest?
I looked up the stats before. I didn't write down the numbers, but it does seem that the Even Paladin should be favored. Of course, with the Clown Priest, you never know. They can. It's a very high rolly deck, right? So if they get all the right draws and they get their Cloning Gallery out, then there's not much you can do. But the Even Paladin should really at least be able to put up a really good fight here for Nexora.
My apologies. My dog decided to bark at something. I think she's done now. If she starts up again, I will definitely mute. I'm so sorry about that. But we do see Lich King, Radiant Elemental, Holy Smite. What do you keep in this position as Penny, and what are you looking for as Nexora?
Well, I think the Lich King probably goes back into the deck because she'd prefer to draw that out with a Cloning Gallery or otherwise and not have to pay the full 8 mana for it. Radiant Elemental is, of course, a nice cheap minion to keep and lets you play more spells. Nexora has a Corpse Taker, which is, of course, nice. Unfortunately, has already drawn her Wind Fury Harp, so that.
Yes, well, we see Malagos come in hand for Penny yet again, so I guess they're even on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nexora is recognizing, I think, here that she needs as much damage on the board as quickly as she can. So that brings out the, oh my goodness, the 1-2. Help me out here, girl.
The Crystal Smith Kangor.
Thank you. That brings that out. So Penny recognizing that, controlling the board is going to be a big deal. But what better turn do you have to play Gargoyle than turn 3, right?
Yes, it's always good to get it out, and as we know, the Cloning Priest just wants to get their minions out there so that they can die and that they can. So getting them out as fast as possible must feel good.
Yes, we can see both Eternal Servitudes here in hand for Penny, but not great minion options for, wanting to resurrect. You really don't want a Gargoyle back again. Having a Radiant Elemental is nice, but it's not going to help you control this board too well.
No, those Eternal Servitudes will probably have to wait a little bit until she's gotten some other minions. So at the moment, the hand is not too great. She does pick up the Mass Hysteria to help her deal with the board if there's some more minions played.
Which is an awesome choice here, that Mass Hysteria. And then we see her go ahead and get some more damage here with the Mind Blast. I think that's an excellent choice. You've got a way out here. You've got this Mass Hysteria. If the board gets too big, you just handle it. And Cloning Gallery, as we said, is all about the patience. And that's what she's doing here. Blessing of Kings on the Kangor. That doesn't feel too great, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, this advantage for Nexora now with just 2 minions is that Mass Hysteria doesn't do very much. Because the only thing that will die is one Jude. So Penny doesn't really have any really good plays at the moment. She doesn't want to start using her burn now, as with the minion on board that's healing for 5 every turn when it hits. Eternal Servitude doesn't really get much interesting. She does decide to put something back on the board, and interestingly, she chooses to go for the Gargoyle.
I don't mind this at all. Maybe she's thinking, a turn where she can, Mally goes coin for a Spirit Lash or something like that. She's got to get something out there. Otherwise, this game is going to be over very quickly.
Yeah, she's already down to 15 health. The coins, of course, can also be helpful when she gets a Shadow Reaper and the Win online. Use a lot of hero powers.
I don't think that does this deck actually run Shadow Reaper?
Does it not?
Does it? It probably does, and I just don't know. My apologies.
Yeah, she does have Shadow Reaper and the Win.
Okay, my apologies.
To the deck list.
I'm glad that you knew that. I sure didn't. So we do see Radiant Elemental come off of the top. Not any answers here. I mean, the Mass Hysteria really doesn't do anything for her, except for maybe clear off 5 damage once she bumps in that Gargoyle.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be very hard to get it to clear the Crystal Smith. So.
But I don't know that she has really too much.
She might have to then use the Holy Smite to do the last bit of damage if that's.
And I feel like
enough.
that was probably one of the worst outcomes that we could have seen. Had one of the minions attacked the Kangor, she could have cleared of that Holy Smite, but
yeah.
That was a rough Mass Hysteria. Did not clear as much as it could have happened here.
No, and Penny now down to 10 health, so it's gonna be difficult for her to win this game. I think Nexora is still on 30, and a lifesteal minion on board.
It's going to require something special off the top, maybe a Shadow Essence into a Ziliax or a taunt minion that allows her to to stay alive one more turn, just try to stabilize. But the next one's gonna have to be something good.
With the True Silver coming out, she's gonna be at 1 health at the start of her turn.
1 health, guys. Not good for Penny. I never say throw in the towel, because you can always something, but and she chooses to not.
She does not attack. That's interesting.
Do you think that was a conscious choice, or do you think she just forgot to attack there?
I cannot think of any reason why we the opponent to 1 health, but.
Yes, and I don't see really anything for poor Penny to do in this situation anyway. So I think that maybe Nexora just forgot to attack, which happens all the time to me. So understandable. But Nexora does take it down. So we're sitting at what is that? 2-2 now?
2-2.
Oh my goodness.
Left with Odd Paladin against Even Paladin for the last match.
Well, isn't that just the way it should go? I mean, Odd Pally versus Even Pally, and we're down to the last spot for the top 8, and it's going to come down to the final game. Oh my goodness. Yes. This is crazy exciting. I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know who's going to win this. It just keeps going back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, they are both playing really well today, and even though Nexora's lineup did seem favored at the beginning, Penny's putting up a really good fight so far. And it all comes down to this last game. And we'll get to see the Odd Paladin with the Witch.
Oh, this is exciting. That Witched Cauldron is
it's
in
already
hand.
in hand.
Keeps it. Oh, keep it, Penny. I want to see this in action. All right. She can't hear us right now. Let's hope. But I want to see Witch's Cauldron. I want to see it do crazy and fun things right now. So, and we do know that odd pally versus even pally. Did you have a chance to look up the stats on this game?
I think the
Trig?
even paladin is slightly favored.
Slightly favored. Yep, it looks like it is a almost 50-50, just a couple percentage points short.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be interesting. Oh, she threw the witch's cauldron. Penny, Penny,
She
Penny.
did get a Corridor Creeper in return, which is of course a good card to have in your opening hand so that it can start getting reduced in cost.
So if you're Penny here, what is your focus? Are you trying to flood the board and keep minions off? What are you trying to do in this odd pally spot?
Well, against even paladin, it's always of course good to keep their board empty so that they cannot play cards like Spike Rich Steed and buff their board up. So on the other hand, you are of course an aggressive deck, so you also want to try and get some damage in if you can, but I think she will try and keep the board clear. Of course, trading now also helps her reduce the cost of her corridor creeping.
We are going to see a very cheap corridor creeper, I have a feeling, here pretty quick.
Yeah.
Which does set up Penny for a nice turn, you know, being able to get that down to 1 health. Or I mean, that even has Divine Shield. So, but Penny will be able to do, you know, a hero power and a corridor creeper or a righteous protector. I mean, she's got a lot of options here to get several minions down.
Yes, there are quite some options. You don't need to then. That would mean she needs to trade into the Jude to reduce it even further if she wants the hero power. Leaving the Divine Shield up on the 2/1 minion on the protector.
I like this. Penny says, why pay 1 mana when I can pay nothing? So she does go ahead and use hero power and the righteous protector to keep as many minions alive as she can. I like it. I like it a lot. So, and then we see the Warlord come into hand. I hate that card. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not my favorite card. Like when they have a full board and that comes down and it's like a 10/10, you're like, what? What am I supposed to do now? So
it's interesting to see a basic card like that suddenly
I know.
that much play. Corridor Creeper is now being reduced to 0 mana, so that can come out
Why
for
would
free.
you pay anything for a corridor creeper, right? We do see that Blessing of Might go down on the 1/4 to clear the Corpse Digger. I like this play a lot. It does give her the chance to clear the board, put some more minions down.
Yeah.
And she is gonna hold the corridor creeper. Interesting. Oh nope, there it comes up. My apologies. I was running slow. I gotta love that. Tell me about her hand though. I mean, she's sitting at a little bit more of a.
She's got a lot of
heavy
removal in hand with the Pyro, the Consecrate, and
yes,
don't really need the combination at the moment with 1/1s, of course, that the Odd Paladin puts on board. Equality is not really useful yet.
Not gonna do you too much probably in this
No,
matchup.
so I think we'll probably see a weapon come out and another hero power. And that way she could potentially get rid of the corridor creeper before it gets buffed with raid leaders or blessings of might.
That's a good thought. I think as Nexora here though, you're a little disappointed that you're not a little bit more minion heavy. You have tons of removal, but this is probably the one matchup where a ton of removal is not going to be as helpful because they can just keep refilling their board over and over. So
yes, the Odd Paladin always the minions keep coming. You think you've cleared them enough times, but more will come out. You just press that hero power. That's interesting here to see the Warlord come out with just 1 minion on board.
I like that play. It gives a heavy body for Nexora to deal with. Maybe it draws out some of the removal that, that we know that Penny knows Nexora has. Excuse me, I apologize. But we do see that equality in hand, which means that she can make quick work of it with only take 3 damage from it after she heals. Well, I say that. Yeah. Okay. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, the weapon will heal her back up. Still not a lot of minions that she could play. The Crystal Set Kangar could potentially come out after she's cleared the Frostwolf Warlord. So that but that doesn't really put on a lot of pressure until you have something to buff it with. And unfortunately for Nexora, we don't see any other buff cards in hand at the moment.
No, as we said, this is heavy removal, but not so much on the side of minions. So, and removal can only take you so far, so she really needs to see it. But, you know, having doubled healing there probably feels pretty good, knowing she can take that warlord out pretty easily. But a taunt in hand for Penny might make that a little bit harder to get removal.
Yes, she decided not to use the equality to get rid of it, which I can understand, but this taunt is then presenting her with a bit of a problem. Of course, with the pyro and the consecrate in hand, she has even just the consecrate will also already help her deal with this minion. So.
Yep. And I think that that was smart on Penny's part, knowing that that possibly could be hand. She's holding back some of her other minions, like the raid leader and things like that, trying to wait for her spot to use that raid leader to get us the maximum amount of damage, the most possibility it'll stick on board. So Nexora at 20 health, but we know that weapon will actually heal her up for 4 more without taking damage.
Yeah, she also just drew the Glass Knight, so she'll be getting it already starts with the Divine Shield, of course. So, but once the Divine Shield would be removed, then the healing from the weapon will put it back. Now at 22, it hasn't hit with the weapon yet.
That is such an interesting combo, and one I have actually yet to see someone do in person, or in game. So I will be excited to see that combination come down. Now, if you're Penny, I mean, it looks like she's already reaching for that Vine Cleaver. Is that just the only way to go here? Get that healing off the board? Oh, Penny, you're ruining it. I was gonna see the combo.
Well, the weapon can still provide the healing required, right?
Oh, that is true. That is true. There we go. Oh, and a Spike-Ridge Steed in hand. Nexora is finally starting to get some traction on the things that she needs to be able to deal damage and stabilize here. So Penny needs something really good to come out of the deck.
Yeah, that Spike-Ridge Steed should probably be coming down this turn for Nexora to really start providing some pressure and putting a taunt in the way, holding Penny back. Yeah, we'll have to see what Penny will draw next turn. Is this
What do you think coming out of the deck now? Witch's Cauldron is interesting. Most definitely.
Interesting, but
you don't have anything to die.
No. Well, you can hit with the weapon to get 2 more jutes, but you have nothing that will protect your cauldron. So putting it out this turn probably not the right thing to do.
And I think
that she doesn't play it.
Did exactly what she had to do. Unfortunately, you know, we know this board can get cleared. However, you know, Penny's got to be saying, you know, if you're going to waste some of your spells here, then do it. You know, like kill my board. Otherwise, you know, no big deal. So, and we know that this Witch's Cauldron is actually going to be able to come down and give her some value here, depending on what Nexora chooses to do. And she is going to save the equality, it looks like, and just go face.
Yeah, well, a board of 4 1/1s when you have a taunt in a way that will summon another taunt when it dies. Of course, is that threatening. Let's see what the Witch's Cauldron will give Penny.
All right, guys. Oh, dealing 1 damage. That's not the end of the world
to
here.
all minions. Well, you want to kill your own minions first anyway, so.
Okay, and a taunt, ancestral taunt, heal there for
taunt.
Gives you a taunt. That's not shabby.
No.
Oh,
Unstable evolution. That's of course a great pickup.
Yes, yeah. You can start to look for maybe some taunts to help you stabilize if you needed to. That's a great pickup. What else are we going to do? Are we going to see her bump in here? Is the question.
No, she is currently, of course, only at 11 health, so Nexora does have lethal on the board at the moment with 4 damage from her weapon, so she will need to find a way to clear some more minions. So maybe that Beakered Lightning will come out.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's gonna. Oh, and we see Rain of Toads come into hand. How very interesting for her. And a taunt, being able to pick out a taunt and deal 3
The
damage.
lightning bolt
Oh,
clears
wow.
the board.
And gets an apple bomb nonetheless for healing. How very interesting did this game just get?
Yeah, that was an interesting turn. The Witch's Cauldron is really has really saved Penny here with some good draws.
I think the only thing that could have been any better off of that was had she gotten maybe healing rain. I mean, that you can't ask for a whole lot more. I don't feel like in that one.
No, well, she got at least enough to deal with the whole board and some other nice taunts for her next turn with the Rain of Toads. Now with a taunt minion up, she decides to put out the raid leader so that she can a good trade into the Wind Fury Harpy.
Yes, and that feels pretty good there, I'm sure, for Penny to be able to clear that with a dude. But we do see that she has a quality in hand. Anything off the top here is gonna feel, kind of iffy for her. She doesn't know what's in hand to consecrate or, a quality with Wild Pyromancer. So that Rain of Toads has to be used in a good spot, I think. She's got to be very picky where she puts that down.
Yeah, and now with all these shaman spells, of course, you also need to take into account the overload. She only had 7 mana available this turn.
Oh, great point. Great point. She does choose to put that divine. Oh my goodness. Help me out with the name.
Argent Squire.
Argent Squire, my stars. My apology, guys. I'm in spectator mode in Discord, so it's great. Since my system decided not to work, so all the names are escaping me right now. But what do we do here if you're Nexora?
Yeah, there's not a lot she can do with just 2 equalities that aren't doing very much when most minions already have 1 health and a Mani Berserker.
And this is such a place for Penny to be in here. Being able to push. She's gonna take off the dude, and that's a great idea. Oh, we see her evolve her taunt.
That unstable evolution to see if she can get something interesting.
See what she gets here.
Dudes that can be evolved, of course, if she.
That wasn't what we expected. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think that that's great, but what could it really pull out though? She really doesn't have too much left in the deck spell wise, right? Because she's had both Blessing of Mights, so that's pretty interesting.
There might be a Lost in the Jungle.
Yeah, maybe a Lost in the Jungle that. Yeah, nope, nothing left in the deck there. So, I like that pickup. I think the other thing she could have maybe considered was that Leroy, but I think she wanted to hold it for, lethal damage, which is extremely smart on her part.
Yeah,
Avenging
Nexora picks up the Avenging Wrath, which with the equality should at least deal with most of this board.
All right, and then leaving her with that. So now we can see that Penny is sitting on. Oh, does that do it? Does that get her lethal? 6, 10, 11, 12.
Might, actually.
Oh, but she didn't use it there. She went for the safe play. I'm not sure if it would have made it or not with the raid leader 5, 7, 9.
She's at 7 now, so with Leroy.
Yep.
Yeah. It would have been lethal for Penny.
It would have been lethal, but yeah, it's okay, Penny. We all do that every day. But we do see, oh my stars, what a series. We do see Penny with the upset over Nexora's lineup. Penny takes it down 3-2. A little bit of commentary from Penny we saw with her saying, I know I missed it. I'm sorry. Girl, we do it all the time. However, you are through to the top 8. Congratulations to Penny. Nexora, what a great game. Do you feel like Nexora could have done really much different there to be able to pull that out, Trig?
No, she had some unfortunate draws, I think, especially in that last
Mm.
that great, and
I
I
think she
think they
played.
both played really well. And
Yes,
3-2, of course, is a nice result for the last round for this designing game. Uh, Too bad
it
for
was.
Nexora that she didn't make it, but I think they
Mhm.
both played very well.
I was so excited to see that Witch's Cauldron play there, Trig. You heard me say, "Don't throw it away, don't throw it away." But Penny obviously knew what she's doing because she threw it away, got it back at the right moment, was able to, in fact, stabilize, got every spell she needed pretty much to turn that game around. Because had she not got that Witch's Cauldron, I think it would have been lethal either the following turn or the turn after. So that Witch's Cauldron came in clutch, and she did manage to pick up the win. So,
Yes,
uh,
the Witch's Cauldron really turned the game around there. Seemed
but
to be going well for Nexora until then.
yes, that was quite the game. We do want to say a big thank you to our players here that played today. Penny and Nexora, you guys played fantastic. We're so excited to see Penny in the top 8. Nexora, next season, can't wait to see you be there as well. Trig, do you want to give a shout out to our wonderful compatriot on the line?
Yeah, we had Ilu today production for us, and I think it all went really smoothly. So well done there.
Thank you so much, Elu. You were fantastic. We do want to say a big thank you to Ephra and all the people who have made this tournament possible. We appreciate all the hard work that has gone into it. And really, it's just been an excellent tournament. Swiss rounds went very smoothly. So looking forward to the top 8. Big shout out. You can see, go on Twitter. You can see it's the Bad A. Do you want to shout that one out for me there,
On
Trig?
Twitter,
Yes, on
the Bad Women of Hearthstone
Twitter. Yes, you
can
can
be
go in
followed
there.
on Twitter and on Twitch, of course.
Don't forget to follow on Twitch. And also, thank you so much to all of our patrons out there. Thank you to all those in chat. We couldn't do this without you. This is a great place for women to, start casting or start playing on stream and get experience, and the ability to compete in tournaments in a safe environment. It's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much again. Thanks for being here. Trig, anything to add before we sign off for the day?
No, I really enjoyed casting for the first time. I hope everyone in chat has already also enjoyed it. And I'm gonna play my own game after we finish. So
Oh, awesome. What's your
and,
record, Trig?
I'm at 3-4 at the moment. So
3-4. Okay. So you're
already
playing
out
for
for
standing.
the top 8, but hoping to make it a 4-4
Heck
record
yeah,
for
go
my
back.
first tournament.
That's awesome. So is this your first tournament ever or just first online tournament? Tell us a
First
little bit about that.
ever.
First ever. Oh, wow. Then you're doing excellent for your first ever tournament. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
I'm
looking forward to
definitely
that.
enjoying it. That's the most important thing, I think. That we enjoy playing games together.
That's awesome. I just actually right before the cast finished mine, I went 5-3, but I am also, if I'm not mistaken, out of the running. I think only a couple 5-3s make it. So we shall see if I manage to make it on the NA bracket, but I am highly doubting it. So
Yeah,
but
and tomorrow we will stream another match from the EU bracket at 7 p.m.
oh,
again.
and who's that,
So
Trig? You know?
that would be Little Girl against Sugudelimon. Not sure how I should pronounce that one, but
That sounds good.
I think they're both already out, so not a lot of high stakes there, but should still be an interesting match to watch tomorrow.
So looking forward to that. So and you said that will be at 7 p.m., correct? CET?
Yes, 7 p.m. CET.
Okay, guys, we expect to see you then. And on that note, have a wonderful evening to all of the wonderful EU people and a good afternoon to anybody in the NA server.
Just it for tonight, I think. Bye.